You're actually from Arizona?
Yeah, I grew up in Tucson and then I went
Okay.
out to school in California. I came back to Tucson to do my master's
Okay.
and then met a girl and
Uh,
yep, she took me to Omaha, Nebraska. So we spent
Woo!
5 years in
Right
Omaha,
on.
Nebraska. And her career took us to Madison, Wisconsin for 5 years.
Wisconsin.
And then we went back to Nebraska for 2 years in Lincoln, Nebraska this time.
Okay.
And it was just time, it was time
Yeah.
to get back to the desert. And yeah, during that whole time, I was an educator.
Yeah, I see that high school and community
Yeah,
college.
yep. So
16 years, 16 years in the classroom, boys and girls. So that explains the insane amount of patience he has for real estate, right?
yeah, I mean, it's to tell you the truth, yeah, like, this being my second career, I've seen that a lot of those skills that I learned in the classroom
Hmm.
have transferred over because I think of as educators as kind of like CEOs of their own classroom. They're having to create material, they're having to manage time, they're going to have,
Hmm.
all these things. And I think a lot of those things transferred over. So when it was time for me to get out of education, just because I was burnt out, I was just burnt out. And so I didn't really know what to do, right? I thought
Okay.
about maybe I'll go get my PhD, maybe I'll go to
Right.
law school. And I was like,
r-
and then somebody
Right.
said, hey, have you ever thought about real estate?
Yeah.
Researched it, and I was like, okay, here's it. I'll do it part time. I'll teach one more year, try to do it part time, and do that. And so my mentor's like, you're not going to be able to do it like that, right?
Right.
And so I took like a leap of faith. I said, my in my brain, I said, look, the only way that I'm going to be successful in real estate is if I just put myself out there and quit my job and just put all my chips in it, put them all in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of just put me in a mentality like, look, you cannot fail. Failure is not an
Yeah.
option for you.
Right.
And so the first year I was like obsessed with real estate. Like
Okay.
I would wake up, try to learn as much as I could, practice, my scripts, practice talking to people, really know the contract. I mean, it was good in a sense, but it was like a tunnel vision, right?
Okay. Okay.
And I learned a lot, right? I learned a lot. And so from that, I've kind of learned what I'm going to talk about today.
Okay.
So, as most people, when they start in real estate, they say, hey, the best way to do it is just get into open houses, right? Like
Yeah.
do whole bunch of open houses, right?
Yeah.
But I was doing a lot of open houses, like almost every weekend for a
Wow.
very prominent realtor in North Central Phoenix,
Okay.
you know, and I mean, he still dominates North Central Phoenix, right?
Wow. Okay.
And so I'm like, how can I get a piece of this action?
Yeah.
Right? How can
Yeah.
I get a piece of this action? I just started, right?
Yeah.
This guy had
Who's the guy? Who's the guy? Inquiring minds want to know.
Sherry, yeah, Sherry,
Bobby Lee?
Bobby. Yep,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Bobby. I
Yeah.
became really good friends with him, and he
Okay.
and he was nice enough to, he had a few agents that he would only let do open houses, and I became one of them.
Right.
And so I'm thinking like, how can I insert myself in in this neighborhoods in this area when this guy has been dominating for 30 years. And so my
Right.
mentality was like, I'm not going to farm the neighborhood.
Okay.
I'm going to farm communities. Right.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. Yeah.
And because the reality is like, me, if we go head to head, they've known this guy forever. He's been farming it for years. Right.
Right. Right.
And so the next mentality was, okay, well, what access or where do I have access that he might not have access to?
Okay.
Right. And so I
Yeah.
thought education, schools,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
For me, that's an easy in, right? And
Yep.
so that's when I started farming, schools. It's easy for me to go in because I used to be a teacher.
Right.
I know the dynamics, right? I
Yep.
know who to
Yep.
talk to. I
Yep.
know how to relate to them. And so that's kind of like where that mentality of, you know, yes, you can farm neighborhoods and everything. And I think that's
Right.
great,
Yeah.
and it's a long-term play. But at the same time, it's like, each of you on the Zoom call have access to a community that others don't, right? So for
Right.
example, like Chris, you have access to military families. I
Right.
don't.
Right.
You have access to, you know, podcast families or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You get
I get
what I'm
what you're
saying?
saying. Yeah, totally.
Like for you to go into that community, it's not salesy.
No.
You're just part of the community,
Right.
and so for me to do that was schools. Okay.
Okay.
And so that's kind of how I started farming the schools, right? And it's as simple as, you know, I just went up to the school, I went to talk to the principal. I said, "Hey, look, I used to be a teacher for 16 years. I'm now a realtor,
Right.
but one of my values is to give back to the community. And so I would love to help out. How can I help out?" Right. And so they got me in touch with the PTO. And so I talked and I said, "Hey, look, I'm willing to like donate $100 to, your PTO for an event if I can just show up, to your bingo night, and
Right.
and just talk with parents, right?" And so one of the things that I started doing was I bought a popcorn machine.
Okay. Oh, like a real big one, like a big good one.
Yeah, like a
Okay.
popcorn
Right on.
machine. So so
Right
every
on.
s- so every school event that I go to, I hand out free popcorn to the kids,
Nice.
right? And to the
Nice.
parents, right?
Popcorn guy. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so like when I sometimes get these leads or everything,
Right.
I say, "Hey, look, I'm Marco Bravo, the realtor. You probably met me when I was handing out popcorn." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah." Like, "Yeah, yeah, thank you. You have the best popcorn in Phoenix." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. No, I'm just joking." But it's one of those things that I'm adding to the community, right? To the community aspect, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's what I do. Every time I go to these events, they know that I'm gonna hand out popcorn. They know that I'm gonna be there, right? I think for you to start a community, right? To start farming a community, there needs to be a few things, right?
Right.
First of all, you have to be committed to it, right? You
Yes.
you can't just show up one time and then never show up again,
Yeah.
right?
This is true.
You have to be present. For the events, you have to, just know,
It's
hey,
like
look,
it's like branding, right? The more that you're there, the more that they see you, the more that they realize, oh, that's Mark. Even though it's Marco the popcorn guy,
yeah,
then they're going to realize Marco the popcorn guy is also a realtor because you just did something, right? Where you had an event at a school.
yeah, yeah. So this fall, I did 8 events.
Okay,
I did
that's
eight
amazing.
events,
All at
eight,
this,
eight
all at the same school.
at three different schools, and I'll tell you
Okay,
why I picked those three
cool.
schools in a minute.
Okay, okay.
But but here's the thing: is I used to have to ask them
Mm-hmm.
if I can. Now I've farmed these
Yeah,
schools. Now they're asking me
that's
if I can
awesome.
show up, right? And they blast me on their school
Nice,
newsletter. They blast
nice.
me on the social media. They thank me, all these things. And the thing is too is like these are these are schools that they appreciate like me donating money. Like that
Okay,
$100 goes a
yeah,
long ways for
sure.
right. And so it's one of those things like, once they know that you're serious,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that you're committed to their school,
Right.
it's much easier now. It's for me, it's like I just, in August I talked with the PTO, tell me all the events that I need to be at,
Oh,
right?
right on.
And so that's where I'm at. I'm like, yep, I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there
Cool. And
with
you're
my
always
popcorn.
bringing your popcorn machine. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. And so that actually became like for the first 2 years, it became kind of I was known as a popcorn guy, right?
Right,
And
right.
so
I
like
figured. Yeah.
and so like how do I become known as the realtor guy?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you didn't say real estate guy because we would have to go to blows.
Right? Yeah. How do I insert myself now as an expert, not
Yeah.
just somebody giving out, popcorn?
Sure.
And and the way that I started doing that was saying, "Hey, look, every time they come and talk to me, I say, yeah, I've helped out many families from this school."
Okay.
Right? I let them know, I tell them a story about,
Mm,
yeah, last summer, I got this mom, that goes to the school. And so they
sure.
start building that trust, right? And so now they see me in a different light, right?
Okay.
And
Do you have on your little containers you put popcorn in? Is it branded to you?
yeah, so I put a
Okay.
stamp. I buy like lunch bags.
Okay.
And so I cut them and then I put a stamp on it.
You should go look at discount mugs. As weird as it sounds, they may have popcorn bags that you can completely brand it's
Oh,
not
nice.
just so it's not like kinda like that, right?
Yeah,
So it's a co like Nick has them and I have
yeah,
them, right? But that's one of the things I got a discount
right.
mug. I got where is it? Discount mug,
Nice.
okay?
Cool. Yeah,
Um, and then I
yeah,
mean, my T-shirts and stuff I got from a T-shirt guy, but if you make the bag completely wrapped around Marco,
yeah,
then you don't gotta do any prep work, right? You just buy the
yeah,
bags and you fill them up, and then you can showcase maybe do bags for each specific school. Like
yeah, yeah.
so at Little Man School, I have a banner. I have 2 banners
Right,
up, right? Because
right.
the PTO is like $200 for the year of a banner. I'm like, "You kidding me? Sign me up." So there's 2 vantage points. So one they see when they're dropping their kids off on this side of the school, the other on this side of the school, but it costs me $400 to do that. So if you could do something like that with your bags and make it specific for the school, right? Like
Yeah.
when I was a Basha booster when Jake was playing football in high school, I got the domain name bashedrealtor.com. And
Mhm.
because I was part of the PTO and my banner was in the prime position on the 50-yard
Yeah,
line and bashedrealtor.com
yeah.
with my stupid little cheesy mug smiling.
Right.
But that for those 4 years, I got probably, I don't know, maybe $2, $3 million worth of business out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. And here's the thing, here's the reality of it is now that I've been doing these events for I've been doing these farming these schools
Yeah.
for 4 years, right?
Okay.
And
Yep.
so I can count on at least 4 transactions coming from these events
That's awesome.
every year.
That's
Like
awesome.
this Saturday, I met with one of the teachers, and
Okay.
she's gonna buy, right? And
Yeah.
um, so so my point is that I'm not afraid to spend that money or donate that
Mm-mm.
money
Mm-mm.
because I know it's gonna come back to me
Yeah.
as long as I'm always present. And that goes back to the thing is for a long time, once I started doing these, right, they started asking me, "Hey, could you provide lunch for the teachers?" Right?
Oh,
Can you do that? And so
so kind of like a lunch and learn. You pay for the lunch for the teachers?
well, here's how it started.
Okay. Okay.
I thought it was gonna be like a lunch and learn, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it ended up being just, can you just pay for the teacher's lunch, right?
Mm.
And so I did it the first time, and I was like, okay, just because I wanted to
Mhm.
get in, right?
How much was that? Out of
It was like
curiosity.
it was like $300, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my
Okay.
gosh, I can't do this all the time, right?
Right.
So one of the things is like say yes until you don't have to say yes again. You don't
Oh.
have to say
Oh, I
yes.
like that.
Say yes until you don't have to say yes
Yeah.
anymore, right?
I like that.
So so I would buy these luncheons, right? Just so I can get in, right? But now if they ask me to cater things because they know me now, I said, "Hey, look, I cannot do that. I'm not a catering company, right?" And I have told them, "Look, I am willing to sponsor anything if the parents are going to be there."
Good caveat.
So I will, movie night. I've sponsored
Mm,
movie night, bingo night, right?
mm.
I've sponsored, the Christmas drive by, all these things because I know that the parents are going to be there, and so I know I'm going to get. It's like imagine like an open house where 300 people are coming.
That's perfect.
But for me to pay $300 for me not to even talk to anybody, it doesn't make sense, right? But I
No.
knew I had to do it at the beginning because I
You need
wanted
to
them.
open the door.
I need to open the door. I need to know that they're committed to me. But now they understand, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
understand. And I say, hey, look, I can do this, but there's a few things. I need you to put me on the school newsletter. I need you to let me be at the event, right? I need you to put me on social media, right? Things that are free for them. That it doesn't take anything, right?
Yeah.
But they know that I'm going to sponsor. They know
Yeah.
I'll be there, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's that trust that happens, right? And so I started off with an elementary school, okay? And so I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to hopefully see these parents for 4 years.
Yeah.
How do I get in front of them after that, right? And so I started in
Hi.
the junior high that those kids would feed into.
Nice.
So now these 2 elementary schools that I farm, they farm into this one middle school.
Right.
So I will see these families
Right.
fully for 8 years.
That's amazing. That's what a concept, Marco.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
brilliant.
yeah, and it's just going, it just
Eight events a year?
8 events this fall.
Okay.
I'll probably do
Okay.
like another 4 or 5,
Okay.
and
And for all 3 schools combined?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yep,
So you're
yep,
talking less than like 15 events for 3 schools during the school season,
yep, yep.
and you're seeing, 4 deals, at least 4 deals coming from that.
At least 40 deals. And
That's
and and
amazing.
and I know that as I keep on farming
Mhm,
this, I'm gonna
mhm.
get more and more, right? I'm gonna get more and
Yeah.
more because once again, I have inserted myself in their community,
Yeah.
right? I have inserted myself in their community, and some of these people are open enrollment, so they're all over the valley. But I know that these schools are in North Central Phoenix,
Right.
where I wanted to be,
Mm.
right? And I knew I couldn't farm those neighborhoods because of this, this
Bobby
dominant
Lieb.
real, yeah, this
Mhm.
dominant realtor. So
Mhm.
how can I insert myself through this community?
Dude, that's very I've been doing this a long time. You've been doing this a long time. A lot of people on this Zoom have been doing it a long time. I've never, ever, ever in my entire career thought of that. I've done the school thing, but I never thought of the caveat the parents gotta be there. So
Yeah,
for those of you that have done that, have done want to get into schools, use this as like that's brilliant. Only
yeah,
pump money into them to open the door, and then make sure once that door's open, everything that you're doing is strictly when parents are involved, so you can get in front of
yeah.
them.
The kids aren't buying houses, right?
Right,
You know
right,
what I
right,
mean?
right, right,
The kids aren't buying the houses, right? And so
right.
it's the parents that I need to talk to.
Mhm.
It's the parents that I need to inform that give them value, right?
Right. Yeah.
And and one thing that's really like surprised me was, so I guess I'll talk about this. So how do I organize the events, right?
Yeah.
So for every event is I have a raffle.
Okay.
Okay. I do a raffle, and in order to enter the raffle, right, you have to sign up. It's free. It's free, right? And so
Obviously.
so the raffle, and I'll talk about the raffle and then I'll talk about the follow-up and all that stuff. But the raffle prize, right, was something that I learned because so the schools that I'm working with, right, are Title One schools.
Okay.
They're
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
you know
Lower income. Yep. I get it.
low because I want to feel good
Mhm.
that my money's going towards kids that need it, right?
Sure.
I don't need to farm my kids' school at Meadows because those kids are fine, right?
Right.
I don't need to farm Brophy, right? Xavier. Those kids are going to be fine, right? Without $150, right? Every event. When I first started doing these raffles, I had these like elaborate, like raffle prizes, like these awesome things, right? And I was getting people
Wow.
to
You wanted that wow factor, right?
I wanted that wow factor, right? And it was great. I got some things. And then one day I was so busy and I'm like, I couldn't get to the raffle prize that I usually get, right? Like is it
Okay.
like an AJ's basket or something, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, so I just went and I got a whole bunch of gift certificates
Hmm.
to Chipotle, to Raising Cane's,
Nice.
to McDonald's and all these things, right?
All the bad food that people
All
consume
the
that make
all the
themselves
all the
fat.
all the all the bad food, right? I'm like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. But here's the crazy thing is
Mhm.
I got the most leads because of those prizes.
Oh god.
Because
Interesting.
that audience those schools that I work
Mhm.
with, that's where it's more useful to them. Like a fancy,
AJ, yeah. Yeah.
AJ's jelly,
Yeah.
they
Doesn't mean
don't care.
shit.
Doesn't
No.
mean shit. They're, like
No.
crackers with cheese. Come on.
Gift.
They're going to
Yeah.
like Chipotle, right? To feed their family. They're going to these places, right?
Yep. Yep.
And so it was kind of like
Epiphany.
an
Ding.
epiphany, right? Like the, this is like knowing my audience, like this is what
Mhm.
they would be useful for, right?
So you're going from the popcorn guy to the gift card guy. You're transitioning.
So in order to win the prize, they have to fill out a form, right? And I'll talk a little bit about that too. And that's where how I get my leads, right? I
Yeah.
get their name, their email address, their phone
Well, you
number,
have to
right?
because you're not. Do you give them away that day, or do you like, hey, give me your information because then I'm gonna do a
Yep,
drawing at the end of the night type
yep. So
thing?
I'll talk a little bit
Okay.
about how I do that,
Okay.
right?
Cool.
So
Cool.
so not only that, but I also ask them, are you interested in buying? Are you interested in selling? Right? Do you need a handyman?
Mm,
Right? Um, the other question is, do you know anybody else who's looking to buy? Right? So I ask those four questions, right? Because I want to be the source of anything real estate.
yeah.
I first started doing it with these, and I have a whole bunch. I started doing it with these,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yep. Just
Right.
fill them out. Yep.
And then I started doing them with QR codes. And there's
Nice.
advantages. There's advantages to both.
Okay.
Okay. The advantage of them doing it by hand is that while they're filling it out, you're able to start a conversation.
Right.
You're able to ask them questions,
Hmm.
right? which you're making that connection, right? The con is that sometimes their handwriting is so bad that you
It's
just don't know. Like
mhm.
I send an email and it's
Well,
unvalid.
so here's what I would say to that because I've experienced that too. So I'll grab whatever they're filling out, and then I'll say, okay, so it's Marco Bravo. Yep, okay. And I got your emails, Marco Bravo, 1234 at gmail.com, right?
Hmm.
And that's MARCO, right? Yeah, okay, cool. And then it's 602, blah, 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 blah. So that's I got all the information right because and then because that's another level of conversation,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yep,
Because my
exactly,
handwriting
exactly.
sucks. So I feel you.
So I was doing that for a long time, and
Yep.
then I switched it out to the QR code, right?
Okay.
And I found that the QR code was easier for them. I
Okay.
got the exact info, right? And they were required to fill out some information in order
Okay.
to submit, right?
Yeah.
And it's easier for me to download into my database, all those things. So
Right.
once I generate all these leads, right? What I do is I do a text video.
Oh, nice.
I say, thank you so much for letting me be here. Marco, I'm sure I've seen you before, and then here is the winner, right?
Yeah.
So it's tedious because I send it out to every person.
Right. You
I
ever
send
use
them a,
BombBomb?
I haven't, and I need to.
Just look into BombBomb,
I
man.
know,
BombBomb is pretty legit.
I need to. And so,
Because the other thing with BombBomb too, then you'll see the
right,
percentage which they watch it. It's
right.
it's email instead of text, but you take a look at that. It's a pretty cool
Yeah,
platform. Nick turned me on to that. I never heard of it.
yeah, I'll have to look into it. So, so I send out the video text, right? I announce
Right.
the winner, right?
Cool. Cool.
Um, I get in touch with the winner and, I give them the prize. From all those people that I've gotten contacts with, right? Now they're in my newsletter.
Nice. Oh, right on.
So now all those people are getting newsletters from me and I categorize them by the school,
Okay. What's the
right?
frequency of the newsletter?
Every month,
Okay.
every month, right? Every month, with exception, if there's like an event that I'm going to be at, I send that invitation to that school.
Okay. And who do you
So like
use for the who do you use for the newsletters? Is there something that you do? Because
I
I know
just,
like Jen. I know
yeah,
Jen has a program.
yeah, I'm just using Gmail.
Okay.
I'm just using and just putting them in context and putting them in labels and then sending them out, right?
So you create your own newsletter?
I create my
Okay.
own newsletter,
Okay.
yep.
Just
And
like Microsoft Office or what?
Canva,
Oh, okay. Cool.
Canva, and in my newsletter, I always include three things, right? I include something real estate,
Yep.
right? Something local that's
Okay.
going on around, and something that I've done,
Nice.
right? So those are my three criteria for my newsletter.
And it's all email. That's cool.
It's all email. And so, like, for example, like they're gonna have like the Santa drive-by at the last day of the semester.
Hmm.
So I'll send the invitation for the Santa's drive-by to that school, reminding them
Oh, nice.
of that event, right? So I've now become not only
Right.
a realtor, but I'm also
Hmm.
becoming like an advocate for the school and
Hmm.
a communication person, right? To let them know what's going on in their communities, right?
Yep. Yep.
Uh, and so then from there, is just finding out who raised their hand, getting in touch with them, right? And then putting them on drip systems or campaigns, right? And so that's kind of my workflow with that, right? And I'm always following up with them. They're getting at least monthly, they're getting a touch from me. And then they're seeing me at school, right? And they'll say, hey, look, thanks for your newsletter, blah, blah, blah. And we'll talk about the newsletter, right? Or we'll just talk about anything, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the flow of my follow-up. And the thing too is like it's so important that I'm following up with them in different manners, right? I'm following
Yep.
up with them not only with the video text, following up with them with a newsletter, but I'm also following up with them, at the event because that is a follow-up.
Absolutely.
I'm showing up.
Yeah.
They're seeing my face one more time.
Now, it's something that dawned on me when you started talking about schools and things like that, because this completely surprised me as a farming concept. Are your kids in any of these schools?
No.
So how weird was that going to the school? Do hey, this is who I am. I want
Yeah.
to invade your space as much as
Yeah.
possible. I'm not a creeper. But
Yeah.
so how did that dynamic work? Because obviously you had to talk to somebody with power at the school, right? Or was it
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
PTO?
No, I mean, I approach the principal every time I go
Yeah,
to these schools. I approach the principal first, right? They're the
yeah.
they're the captain of the ship. So it, and I don't do my son's schools because it's a feel good factor for me to farm
Sure.
the school
Title
that
ones, yeah, yeah.
the Title
Okay.
ones, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I could farm
yeah,
my son's school, right?
yeah,
And I have done a few events at their schools, right?
yeah,
I've done, but I just, me spending like, I sponsored an event at my son's school. It was like $300, right?
right.
I'm like, oh my gosh, right? First of all, that's a lot, right? But then I'm like, that $300 could go a lot further in
Yeah,
that school,
yeah,
right? And I think in those communities, having the school be like the epicenter of community events
yeah.
and them wanting to go to these kids wanting to go to school is important
Mhm.
to me just because I'm an educator. It's important to me, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
If I don't get a deal out of this year,
Mhm.
I would still feel good.
Well, yeah, because 'cause you're helping the school.
I'm helping the school, right? I know it's going to happen,
Yeah.
but I would still feel good about it. If that
It's a
makes sense.
marathon. Yeah, it's a marathon, it's not a 5K.
Oh, it's absolutely, you have to be. I mean, if you're
Right,
going to do this, you have to commit to it, right? And
right.
that's why I think that if you are going to commit to a community, have it be a community that you really believe in. That's the first thing, because then you don't feel bad about going to these events. You don't feel bad about donating some money, right? You feel
Right.
like you're actually moving that cause, and it's something that you actually is in line with your values,
Mm,
right? And at the very end, worst case scenario, you don't do a deal that year, but at least you helped out that community.
right. Absolutely.
Like for me to like go to, I don't know, like, the weaving basket community, and you know I have nothing in common with them. I have no passion for that, right? And for me, if I'm gonna get bitter if I don't get a deal out of it, right? If nothing happens.
Yeah, I get that. Victoria's responding to me,
Yeah.
you know? So, with this the farming of schools and whatnot, when you've done it for 4 years now, so you've followed some students to the junior high level, right?
Mhm.
Now when you're doing events at the junior high level, do you get those that were in that elementary school recognizing you like, "Oh, okay,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely,
that's good."
absolutely. It's yeah. I mean, I see, and it's also cool to see like some of these kids. You see them grow up. You see them grow up, and you see them. And one thing that I have noticed, and you might be thinking like, why am I not farming high schools, right? Like, well, why
Well,
don't
you're
I
not
just
there yet. You gotta wait for the junior high kids to
right?
age out. I figured that's where you're going,
Yeah,
right? If you started elementary and now you're in junior
yeah,
high, then within 2 or 3 years, you're gonna
yeah,
go to the high
yeah.
school.
And that is part of the plan, to begin with the high school, right?
Yeah.
But what I've also noticed is that my my success from elementary and the middle school, if I compare them the two, right? Parents don't come to a lot of middle school events as much
That
as they do elementary school events, right? Because their kids are little,
yeah.
they want them to be involved.
Oh, that's I didn't think about that. Yeah.
And so when I do a lot of the middle school events, it's usually for like awards, that they're gonna give out, right?
Mm,
Or like the movie night, right?
yeah.
It's just a very different dynamic because a lot of the kids don't want their parents coming to their school anymore, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're embarrassed
Kind
their
of
parents now.
they're
Well,
embarrassed.
that's that but see, if you go when you go to the high school, if you go to the PTO side of it,
Yeah.
then you can do what I was doing at Basha High School, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Because then you're still because part of being the PTO with Basha High School, then I had to do what was it? I would do Friday night JV games in the
Yeah,
concession stands, and then the varsity games, I would be there as a viewer, not somebody helping
yeah,
out. But you know what I mean? But that
yeah,
got me
yeah,
in
yeah,
front of
yeah,
all the PTO parents. There's probably about 20 of us,
yeah, yeah,
right? So constantly just boom, and I got a couple deals from them out of it.
yeah,
And then as a viewer, then I'm just in the stands, but people recognize me from the banner and stuff, right? So then that's that dynamic of brand recognition, face recognition,
right.
because you're present, then they're going to be. So when you're doing you got the QR code which captures all their information. Do you send them from a QR code? Do you send them like a link tree so they have all your links? Or is it just basically you're signing up by this QR code and then you grab their information and then you start farming them? Or is it something that you can like if I came there and said, "Hey, what's your information?" Do you have a link tree? Do you do business cards or
Oh yeah,
how do you do that?
I always have literature out. I
Okay.
always have literature out. I have it both in English and in Spanish.
I was gonna ask you if you speak a
Yeah,
Spanish.
yeah. So because there's also, Spanish speaking families, and Sherry too, just so Sherry's
Yeah,
asking
the
what
schools.
schools.
Yeah.
So it's Rose Lane and Camel View Elementary are the elementary schools, and then it's Park Middle School, right?
So
So
stay away, Sherry.
yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of Spanish speakers, right?
Yeah,
And so yeah, I have literature there. I have, business cards. I
cool.
have everything, right? And I'm not a very pushy realtor. I
I could
don't.
see that.
Yeah, I'm not very like in your
Mm,
face, but when I do communicate with them, I say, hey, look, I know a lot about real estate.
mhm.
Hopefully, when you're thinking about doing any moves, right, or if you know
Yeah,
anybody any moves, give me a shot.
yeah,
Give me a shot. I help out. And so and also for everybody that I help out at those schools, I make sure that I buy them a home warranty, you know,
yeah. Oh, right on.
through the transactions and all that
Yeah,
stuff. They know that I'm helping them out.
gotcha.
Um,
Yeah, Nikki. Yeah, Sherry's got a listing near her school, so she was gonna approach the principal. She didn't want to step
Sherry,
on your toes.
I'll bring you a buyer.
There you go. Now, when you do you showcase any of your listings at these events? Like, do you bring real estate paraphernalia? Like, hey, these are my houses for sale, or do you bring, like, first time home buyer programs or any incentive things, or is it just real kind of like just the normal everyday? This is who I am kind of jargon. I mean, are there hooks? Are you going fishing?
Yes and no. Like so like I do have like some of the lenders that I work with,
Hmm.
they'll partner up with me and
Okay.
they'll help out with some of the things, and they'll actually sometimes they'll be there, right? They'll be there
Okay.
with me, helping out. The one thing that I do is, so I also have a Facebook page that is,
I was gonna go there.
yeah, the North Central Phoenix community page.
Cool. Right on.
And so it's gotten a lot of traction. We have like 2,500 uh followers, right?
And that's been around for 4 years.
Yeah, that's been around for, no, it's been
Okay.
around for like about 2 or 3 years, right?
Okay, but it's directly related to the fact that you're present at up to 15 events
Yeah,
on an annual basis because
yeah,
obviously they're getting that somehow from you, correct?
yeah, exactly. And so every day I post on that Facebook page things that are happening in North Central Phoenix or around,
Cool,
right?
cool.
Every day, and there's people that are posting their things, right?
Yeah.
Um, you know, and so when I'm at those events, I have like a easel, right,
Yeah.
that says, join the North Central Phoenix community,
Oh,
and there's a
right
QR
on.
code that goes
Right
straight to
on.
the Facebook page, and so they'll join the community page, and they'll
Perfect.
see they'll see me in a different capacity as again,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it's just trying to see how different ways that they can see me in different
Mhm.
different capacities.
Yeah, you're don't you need to be a human, not just a realtor. People
Yeah,
forget
exactly.
people forget that we're human.
Yeah,
They think we're all about the money and the sales and just used car salesmen
yeah,
that make more money. I mean, they do. I mean, people totally don't look at us as humans for the most part, which is why it's important,
yeah.
everybody, to showcase your personal side. That's why I show little man pictures and trip
Hmm.
pictures and family pictures because it
Hmm.
just you get more engagement. Like I got crazy engagement Friday, Saturday, yeah, or Thursday, Friday, and Saturday because I was posting stuff about Nikki's birthday. The
Oh yeah,
engagement
yeah,
was the engagement is insane when you post personal stuff versus when I post something on my
yeah,
regular page that's real estate related.
yeah.
I'll get like 20 likes, and 4 or 5 comments. You post a picture of my wife, holy shit, it just goes crazy. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
300 comments and likes and the reactions. And so that's a cool aspect of it that you are showing them as just you're a human, not just a realtor on.
yeah. And the purpose of that community page is to let them know, hey, look, I'm a community realtor, right? Like I'm not saturating that Facebook page with real estate. I'm also putting events, things that are happening at schools, things that are happening. I posted about the APS
Yeah.
parade. Now it's shifting to the Sunny Slope parade, right? So
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
posting things about that, right? Businesses, all things like that. And so they're just seeing me as kind of an expert in this area, right?
When you send your newsletters out, do you have a Spanish and an English version?
I don't, and I should. That is something that I
Yeah.
should do. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, I'm assuming you know who speaks Spanish and who doesn't speak English, right?
Yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep, yep. Yeah, and the nice thing too is that, like once it goes back to my audience, right? Is
Hmm.
that, if I would have gone to a school that's mainly there's a lot of Spanish speakers and I didn't speak
Hmm.
Spanish, right?
Right. You'd be
I'm using
stuck.
I'd be
Right.
stuck, right?
Right.
I can't help you, right? But since I'm
Right. Right.
bilingual, I'm able to
Right.
do that. Yeah.
No, and that's brilliant. That's huge, man. Because I couldn't do that. I mean, I can speak Spanish, but not probably the level
Yeah.
that you can. And yeah. So that's really good. So let's go over. Yeah, I'm gonna go over your thing and see. So yeah, it's a long pace. It's a marathon. We talked about that. You got your checklist for your events. Do you have like when you go and you have your popcorn machine? Is your popcorn machine wrapped about with you? Because you could probably
Yeah.
do
Oh,
that.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's wrapped.
Yeah. Yep.
Right
I
on.
have. It's not wrapped, but I have stickers. I have
Okay.
stickers around my popcorn machine. So yeah, if you are gonna do like events, right? If you're gonna really tap into this, and I want to say, and I want to put this with an asterisk, right?
Yeah.
This is just one source of leads that I get,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Like this
This
is
isn't
not
your. Yeah. Not all your eggs are not in this
not
basket.
right. And I want you to, and I want everybody here to think of it the same way, right? This is
Hmm.
just another avenue that you
Yep.
can leads because when you have multiple lead sources, right? If
Right.
one of them dries out, you're going to be able to tap
Mhm.
into the other ones, right?
Yeah.
But if this is one of the ways that you want to generate leads from, one of the things that I've learned is like you have to like have like a checklist for things that you need to bring to these
Yeah.
events, right?
Agreed. So what's your checklist?
So my checklist, so I have one of those wagons, one of those big
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
wagons, right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
And so I need to get the popcorn bags, right? I
Hmm.
need to get the popcorn,
Yep.
right? I need to have an extension cord for the popcorn machine, which
Ooh.
was something that I
Learned the
almost
hard way.
yes, I did learn the hard way. I didn't bring one, and luckily they had one,
Right
right?
on.
But you just never know,
No,
right?
you don't. You
I need,
don't.
you know, I need to make sure that I bring like the bags, right?
Mm,
That I have the bags already cut, right? I need to make sure that I bring all my literature.
yeah.
I need to make sure that I bring my banners, right? I need
Hmm.
to make
Hmm.
sure that I bring like the popcorn scoopers,
Right.
those like little
Hmm.
things like that
Hmm.
can just if I forgot the popcorn scooper or if
Right.
I got the bags, I mean, what
Hmm.
am I gonna do?
Right.
Right?
Do you keep it all together? Like, do you have a go
Oh yeah.
wagon? Like the go
Hmm.
wagon? Like instead of a go
Oh
bag,
yeah.
it's a go wagon?
It's a go wagon. It's a popcorn machines in there, everything.
Now, is
And
the
then the
popcorn so the popcorn machine? Because throughout my career, if somebody used me to buy or sell a home 3 times, I would actually go buy them like the big stand up
mhm.
popcorn machine like you see in the movie theaters, right? Because I
Oh
figure
yeah.
if you bought 3 houses from me, then I owe you something grand.
Yeah.
Is that the
Oh yeah.
kind you have?
Yeah.
The like you can make up 400 bags of popcorn, whatever, out of it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So usually for every event that I do, I'm handing out about 200 to 250 bags of popcorn.
Nice, nice.
I mean, and I'm going. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I have a process, right? It's a process, right?
Mm.
And I've learned now to get there super early so I can start popping and have
Mhm.
like at least 50 bags already ready to go,
And
right? Because
have the aroma going, so people.
have it going
Where's
yeah,
Marco? I smell
exactly.
Marco. I smell that Marco's here.
And just have it going. And so I do have a big popcorn stand machine. I took off
Okay,
the stand because it
and so
didn't
it's
fit on my
tabletop. Yeah,
yeah,
I
so that's a
figured.
tabletop, right?
Yep.
And yeah, I mean it's cheap. Popcorn
Yeah,
is cheap,
it
right?
is, and
Everybody loves popcorn,
they do,
you know,
because how could you
and
not?
yeah, and it attracts people to your booth, right? It
Yeah,
attracts
because yeah,
to your table.
yeah. If you
You
don't like
know,
popcorn, you're not
yeah.
American. Like,
Oh
there's just
yeah.
something wrong with you.
No,
Now, as you lay out the bags, do you have something they set in, or you just kind of scoop, give, scoop, give, scoop, give?
no, I have like a little crate that
Okay,
put
cool,
them in.
cool.
I put
Right
them
on,
in, right?
right
And
on.
then that
Yeah,
way they don't fall out or
they're
anything.
ready to go, and then people just come by, grab.
People just come by and then I'm always refilling it, getting, the next one going, getting the next one
Yeah,
going. Um, I had one instance where one of the schools, they said, "Hey, could you sell the popcorn for $1? Um, because we want to raise money for the
yeah,
PTO,
yeah.
right?" And I said, "Look, I don't
No,
want to do that.
no,
I
because
don't
then you
want,
create that stigma.
yeah, I
Yeah,
want the popcorn to be free
hmm,
always, right?"
yeah.
So what I did was I gave them $150.
I figured. I knew where that was going.
Yeah, I said, look, I'm probably going to give about $150 to 200 bags out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Let me just give you what you would have made,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I never want them to feel like because a lot of people they come and they're like, like I did the fall carnival for Rose Lane over at Madison
Okay,
number 1,
okay.
and the food trucks were there. I helped organize the food trucks, all these
Oh,
things, right? And a lot of people would come over and they would be like, "How much is the popcorn?" I'm like, oh, it's free 99, free, right? It's free, you know, and it brings
3.99
a
funny.
smile to their face, right? It brings a
Mhm.
smile to their face. Yeah, and I mean, going back to like I've gotten involved in some aspects of like events as well. Like,
Yeah.
I also want them to know I'm not just there to sell the popcorn or
Right.
to give the popcorn away and to sell real estate, right?
Right.
So for the readathon last year,
Okay.
they had a readathon and they were gonna raise money. So what I said, hey, look, let me see if I can go to Bookman's. They
Huh?
have a whole bunch of books.
Hmm.
And so I was able to get Bookman's to donate 400 books to that school,
Wow. Nice.
right? For the fall carnival, I said, hey, like, let me try to organize the food vendors, right?
Yeah.
And so I just called all these food vendors and I organized 5 food trucks, right?
Right on.
To be there. So once again, it's my time,
Yep.
but I'm showing commitment,
Hmm.
right? I'm showing commitment to their cause, to their community,
Yep.
and that goes a long ways, right?
It does.
It goes a long ways. People appreciate that. People see that, and people remember those kinds of
Hmm.
things, right? And
Absolutely.
so so put yourself out there, right? If you decide to farm this community, don't just sponsor the events. Be like, hey, look, I'm not busy right now. Could I help out, right? Or do something. Like sometimes I'll just stop by and bring a whole bunch of like reams of paper. I'll go
Oh,
to Staples
right on.
because I know printer paper is expensive, right? And so I'll
Right.
buy
Right.
like 3 reams of paper.
That goes back to like what Nick used to do, where he would go take flowers to receptionists when he
Yeah,
first got into business, because once a week he's dropping off flowers, dropping off
yeah,
flowers. Oh, here's Nick. Oh, here's Nick.
yeah,
Oh, here's
yeah,
Nick. Then all of a sudden, hey, Nick. So
yeah. They're
you're
pop-ups, right? They're
right
pop-ups.
there. Yeah, yeah,
They're
and you're
pop-ups and just in a
yeah,
different way, right?
yep. And you're
It,
doing it
it,
in a very stealthy, non-threatening. Hey, here I
yeah,
am. I want to help you.
yeah,
I want to help you with your greater good, and
yeah,
you're not asking for anything up front, because with the time you invest,
yeah,
because it's human nature to go back to somebody you're familiar with,
yeah, yeah,
especially when it comes to buying or selling a house. And if you're constantly in front of them, which is why you need to get to the high school level in 4 years.
yeah,
We'll
yeah,
have to have you back on in 4 years to
yeah.
talk about your high school exploits. That's a great approach to a way to generate leads that really, I again, man, this blew my mind when I read this morning. Like, I've never thought of that, like, ever.
Because the reality is like, especially for like newer agents or agents who've never farmed a neighborhood, right?
Hmm.
It's tough for you to get in and get success right away,
Right.
right? Especially if there's somebody that's been farming those neighborhoods for a while.
Mhm. Well, and it's
It's
so
tough.
hard nowadays too, because people don't want to answer the door, and they have the Ring doorbell. So they look at the Ring doorbell, they see a bald guy standing
Mhm.
there with a clipboard. They're not answering the door
Yeah,
for me.
yeah,
Can I help you?
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
I'm the real estate guy. What about? Not interested.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's one of those things that when you farm these communities, it's easy to get personable with these people, right?
Hmm.
Because you're not you're not sending a mailer, you're
Nope.
not knocking on their door. The initial context or the initial contact is not about real estate. The
Nope.
initial contact
Is it-
is about what that community is doing,
Right. Right.
right? Whether it's basket weaving, whether it's
Hmm.
like a
Hmm.
cheerleading, schools,
Right.
church,
Right.
whatever it is, paintball association, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Each of us have access to a community that others don't.
Now, when you do your newsletters in your Facebook group for this, are you allowing local businesses to advertise or
Oh,
promote?
absolutely. Yeah. So I started something called NCP Biz.
Okay. Nice.
It's a North Central
Yep.
Phoenix
Hmm.
business, right?
Yep.
And so I'll go to like local businesses and say, hey, look, like I do a lot of events.
Yeah.
I get to school, would you be willing to donate, a gift card, right?
Yeah.
To, so like Miracle Mile Deli is fabulous, right? They donate all the time. Those Chris caterings, they do it all the time, right? The sandwich shop right there in Glendale, they do it all the time, right? I've had an event where Smelly Dog, they did like free grooming, right?
Oh, nice. Smelly
And
dog.
yeah, so what I do is I say, hey, look, if you help me, with the event, maybe either donate to the event that I'm going to do, or you
Yeah.
just donate a little bit to that school
Right.
directly.
Right.
What I'll do is I'll put you on that Facebook page.
That's cool.
I'll put you on the
Yep.
Facebook page where 2,500 people will look at it that are all part of North Central
Hmm.
Phoenix,
Hmm.
right? and then I give them like a little sticker. I don't know if I have one here, where they can put in front of their shop.
Oh,
It
right
says
on.
NCP Biz, right? It's
Yeah,
I kind of
cool.
got the idea, like like how people walk, like Phoenix is best, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Things like that. And so I was
yep.
like, okay, this little sticker will say that, hey, look, you are a true North Central Phoenix local business,
Yep,
and you also contribute to the community,
that's cool.
right?
That's
And
nice.
so,
That gives their biz cred, gives them
oh
street
yeah,
cred with the consumers. What's that? Oh, it's I give back to the community.
yeah, exactly. Because I think North Central Phoenix is a very heavy based community, neighborhoods, right? A lot they really care about their neighborhoods. They care about the community, just like Sunny Slope. That I'm living in Sunny Slope. It's very community driven,
Yeah, right
which
on.
is awesome, right? And I'm sure there's other neighborhoods that do that. It's
Mhm.
just kind of where I've noticed it because we're the proximity where I live. But yeah, I mean, I get businesses involved,
Good.
when I
That's good.
can. What I'm thinking about doing now for this Facebook page is, now that I've gotten so many
Mhm.
followers on there, what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start asking just Brokers Hub's realty agents if they would post their listings on that
Oh,
page,
nice.
right? Because I do
Mhm.
want to, I want our brokerage to like just be dominant, right? I
Yeah,
want us to be
yeah,
the go-to, right? And
yeah,
I think that's an easy way for agents to, hey, look, can I list my property? Can I put it on there as part of the community page? And I think, it's
yeah.
more exposure, right?
Do you when you have people coming on the Facebook group? Because here's something I used to do. I used to have a Facebook group just for past clients. Okay, I kind of let it fade away just after a couple years of because it's a whole different story. But what I did once a month on that group itself was just for the people that are on the Facebook group. I would do a drawing. They're kind of like what gift card typically. Because when I had my mailing apps, I use Mailbox Power and send out cards. Whoever won the drawing, I send them like a $50 gift
Yeah.
card.
Yeah.
So, have you done anything like that on that scale, just to
So
see what kind of involvement you'd get?
so I'll be truthful with you. I haven't, and there's a
Okay.
reason why. Because
Okay.
every day, I probably get about 5 to 7 people that want to join the Facebook group, right?
Okay. Do you vet them?
I vet it. I have to
Good
vet
job.
them.
Yeah, you have. I know. I vet our neighborhood for the people who run the page
I
because
have to,
it's crazy the amount of people try to get into a neighborhood they're not part of the neighborhood, right?
right? Or
It's
they're not even
insane.
they're not even living here, right?
Right. It's insane, man.
They, like they're just bots, right?
Uh-huh.
And so
Uh-huh.
and
Yep.
so every day it's me kind of vetting them. If they've joined like a week ago, nope,
Yeah.
decline, because I
Yeah.
know that
You're a bot.
you're a
Mhm.
bot, right? If they say that they're living, in a different country, no, I'm sorry. If there's kind of like, I don't know, I go to the profile page and it's very
Yeah.
obvious or not, right?
Yeah. That's
If you
good.
have three, you've been on Facebook for a certain amount, you have three
Yeah.
friends, and all this stuff
Right.
is stuff of Sweden, right? Sorry, right? But
Unless they're
here's
hot,
yeah,
you know. I'm just
but
kidding.
but here's one thing that I do, that if you do a community page, right, on
Mhm.
Facebook, I think
Mhm.
is, at least in my opinion, I think
Mhm.
it has a lot of success. So every week or every other week, I get a whole bunch of people, right? And so there's a feature on Facebook that if you're the administrator for that
Mhm.
community page, you're able to welcome
Yep.
everybody.
Yep. I do the
Yeah.
same thing.
And so what happens is that it highlights
Mhm.
everybody, right? It
Yep.
gets them in blue. You know how you can do that? So when you welcome them, and they're tagged, they see that tag on their
Mhm.
feed,
Right.
and then more people see that, oh, there's a Facebook community page for North Central Phoenix,
Right.
and they want to join,
Yep.
right? And
That's
I
brilliant.
think, yeah, because you're just like, you know bouncing, right? And
Mhm.
then, and so every time I do that, I get an influx of people that want to join,
Mhm. That's good.
and I think it's kind of goes back to like cheating the algorithm, right? If you say happy birthday to somebody every day, right? Those
Mhm.
people, once you've communicated with them, or once you've written something on them, when you post,
Yeah.
you're gonna pop up on their
Mhm.
algorithm. So it's kind of
Yep.
the same
Yeah.
concept,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I mean, it's once again, it's just another way to market myself, market the brokerage.
Mhm.
Now that I'm with Brokers of Realty,
Right.
and just be in front of my community, right?
Right. It's another IPA, income producing activity.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth, I mean, I wake up. get my morning going, and I go on Facebook for 15 minutes, and then I
And
don't,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Everybody should be going on Facebook every morning and just going through your friends' stories, liking, commenting. I've talked about it before. You'll be surprised the amount of conversations you'll have throughout the day that,
yeah,
some people won't respond right away because their day's just starting, but then all of a sudden, 6 o'clock at night, you have 5 people that responded to a message you sent at 6 o'clock that morning. And it really, you can be in your jammies.
yeah,
You can be butt ass naked on your porch with a cup of coffee, just going through your phone and liking stuff and
yeah,
commenting and ha-haing,
yeah,
smiling hearts. It
yeah,
doesn't cost you anything. You're already paying for the phone bill. You're already paying for the Wi-Fi
yeah,
and the internet, so you might
yeah,
as well use. That's the first thing I do when I get up after, all the things, and I get on there while I wait for little man, just go through.
yeah.
Just randomly you do the same thing for Instagram. If you're on Instagram, do the same thing for TikTok if you're on
Mhm.
TikTok, because 'cause you'd be surprised the traction that gets. We got like 5 minutes left. Is there anybody that has any questions other than we've already had? And if so, put them in the chat box.
Yeah, I guess my biggest is like, look, all of us have access to a community that other
Mhm.
realtors don't, right?
Yeah.
You have this advantage. You have this niche that you can really insert yourself in that community as the realtor,
Yep.
right? And it's most likely going to be a community that you know you
You gotta be
appreciate.
passionate. You gotta be
Yeah,
passionate
yeah,
for it, though. You
yeah,
can't just
exactly.
you can't just go in with the mindset, "I'm gonna make money." It has to be something
No.
that you're pa When I moved into this neighborhood, I knew there I could tell by signs there wasn't a lot of
Yeah,
multiple use realtors. So the more I got involved in the community, the more I'm embedded as the go-to real estate guy.
yeah, yeah.
So I think that's a huge thing. Be passionate about what you're doing. Just don't go in there with the mindset you're gonna get business out of it, because then your heart's not in the right place. And I think
No,
people can pick up on that because
exactly.
your approach isn't gonna be sincere. What you're
Yeah.
doing is very sincere, because at the end of the day, you just want to help out a Title I school. For those that understand, Title I schools are the poorer of all schools. They're the ones
Mhm.
that get the free meals, the free breakfast, the free lunch. Some of the stuff that I do out in the community with organizations is specifically tied to Title I schools because they don't get anything.
Right.
They're the bottom of the rung. The school district's going through chaos right now because they have way too much overhead and the population is declining, which is
Mhm.
why schools are being closed, because nobody's having the amount of babies they had 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And instead of cutting the fat up at the admin, like Chandler School District has, like, 40, 50 staff in the admin office. You don't need the assistant to the
Mhm.
assistant to the assistant of the superintendent. It's stupid. So instead of cutting that waste, they're making the schools cut the waste, which is not fair.
Right.
So what you're doing is helping a Title I school get extra income to do the things they need to do to make their school that much more
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah. And here's the thing is like I can't see a community saying no to somebody helping out, right? Or
Agreed.
sponsoring.
Agreed.
It's going to be very rare that they're going to say
Mhm.
no. So don't be afraid to ask. Don't
So
be
when
afraid to ask.
yeah, so real quick, just before we wrap this up, your first school, you walked to the principal. What did you say? Because again, a male walking into a school, hey, I want to be involved in your PTO. Do you have kids here? No. That to me is a red flag with the principal. So how did you get around that red flag?
But see, here's how I did it, right? Is
Okay. Yeah.
because the first thing that I said to him, hey, look, I said, hey, Mr. Principal,
Mm,
I used to be an educator.
okay.
I used to be a teacher. And now I'm a realtor, but I still want to be involved in helping out the school
Yeah.
community,
Okay.
right? So that's how once again, I have access to that because if you went in there, right, they're going to be like, right?
Well, so I have to lie. I have to be like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
yeah,
Mr. Principal,
yeah,
I was
yeah,
a teacher," and then under my breath, "In another life." Right? But that's the thing though,
yeah,
because if I went in, like, really, it's gonna be that automatic, like, "Oh,
yeah.
wait a minute."
They're going to they're just going to, smell the commission breath.
Right,
Right?
exactly.
They're just going to smell the commission breath, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's that one where do I have access to
Mm,
that other realtors don't have access to? I have access to
okay.
teachers because I was a teacher, right?
Okay. Okay. So
Right?
you lose. So it's not necessarily, this is not something for everybody to do unless they want to try it. But your end game was the fact that hey, 16 years in the trenches. I get
Yeah,
it. Been there, done that. I know how PTO works. I know how the financial aspect, etc.,
yeah,
works. Let me
exactly.
add value to that by just
Yeah,
being present at your
yeah.
events.
And I'm on their site committee,
Well, now
audit
you are.
committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like
Yeah.
all
Oh,
these
yeah.
things. I'm very invested, right? And if you're gonna do this,
Hmm.
make sure you're in it,
Yeah.
right? Don't just
Yeah.
show up for one event and then peace
Agreed.
out.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get anything. You're not
No.
gonna get a deal.
No, and
You know,
and that's gonna prevent them from wanting to let somebody else in the future because you weren't committed to it. So yeah.
right, right.
Yeah. That's awesome. Marco Bravo,
Cool.
ladies and gentlemen. Another way to generate
Thanks.
business by knowing a little niche in your community. All this stuff will be up and populated on all the normal little things. Thank you all for coming,
Thanks.
and great job, Marco. It was
Thanks. We'll
fascinating.
see you next week.
I learn something every week. It's
Me
amazing.
too. Me
Yeah.
too. It's awesome.
Have a great day, everybody. Bye.